everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today, online as well as in person. Especially in person, you've weathered the storm, the snow, and you're here, so we'll take it. In this session, we'll talk about building, integrating, and monetizing applications, platforms with Microsoft Fabric. I'm Dipti Borkar, VP and GM at Microsoft, and super excited to announce a range of new capabilities here today. We'll also do a deep dive into some of the announcements you might already be aware of from Arun and Amir's session earlier at Ignite. Now, exactly a year ago, at Ignite last year, we introduced our Fabric ecosystem program. And we've come a long way since then. We've talked with and collaborated with a range of customers, partners, ISVs. We've learned a lot through this process. And in fact, I've personally chatted with many of you, and it's been a wonderful set of feedback. And so thank you so much for your commitment to Microsoft Fabric. Now, one of our most strategic partners is the London Stock Exchange Group, and I'm thrilled to be here co-presenting with Phil Cheetham, who will share about their journey with Fabric in just a bit. So let's get started. We have 45 minutes and a lot to cover. It all starts with the platform, the power of the platform. Fabric brings together a range of workloads, a range of capabilities, and each of these capabilities are built on an open platform. This platform brings in open formats, Delta Lake, and now Iceberg, which is now available in public preview, open interfaces, and APIs, so well-known APIs and interfaces that developers can build apps and platforms on top of. And the platform itself, we are opening up with our workload development kit, and we'll talk a lot more about that. As we've talked with our ISVs and partners, we've seen patterns in terms of the kind of platforms, the kind of apps that they're building on top of Fabric. They're built into three categories. First is a data distribution or an API-based platform. This is when they are looking at sharing data, monetizing data through APIs, whether it's T-SQL, whether it's GraphQL, a range of different APIs. The second one category is SaaS platforms. SaaS platforms tend to be multi-tenant. They might be solution area focused, like MarTech, sales tech, or verticalized. And verticalized might be health tech, industrial tech, and so on. And so we are seeing a range of different verticals as well as horizontals build SaaS applications on top of Fabric. The third one is where our partners, ISVs, enterprises, are looking at extending their core platform through other channels, through Fabric. And we'll talk about this aspect where now you can bring in your experiences natively into Fabric as well. Now, one of the next questions I often get is, what are the patterns and the requirements that you see as your customers and ISVs are building these applications and platforms? And we've captured a few of them. So let's walk through it and how Fabric helps with each and every one of them. I touched a little bit on the open data. Customers increasingly don't want to get locked into proprietary formats, and so we now have Delta Lake and Iceberg for you to choose from. These are open source and widely available, and even our SQL is moved on. Our data warehouse uses these open formats. So every engine is reading and writing in these open formats and has access to them. Multi-cloud data. Your data might be in S3, your data might be in GCS. Of course, we want it to be in Azure, but it can all be integrated in through shortcuts and other mechanisms into OneLake, which is the OneDrive for data. Customers want their data in places where their end users may already have their existing data platforms. And this means the interop between Fabric and other platforms is really important, be it Databricks, be it Snowflake. And so we have built those integrations increasingly. Snowflake recently announced that you can directly write data into OneLake from Snowflake, and the bidirectional from Fabric to Snowflake is coming soon as well. AI-enabled. Of course, you've heard a lot about Copilots. If there was one word that, for Ignite, it's probably Copilot. And with OneLake, your data is AI ready. What do I mean by that? you can directly integrate AI search with OneLake. And so you have vector embeddings. Your keyword search is all embedded and ready to be used. We have AI skills that are built into Fabric that you can integrate into Copilot Studio so that you can have much better prompts, customized prompts as well for your users. A lot of this is API-based. We have APIs for every workload. It allows you to build multi-tenant architectures. And there's two key capabilities that enable this: workspaces and capacities. These can be jointly used in many different combinations so that you can have isolated capacities and workspaces or shared capacities and workspaces to help you through this, through your architectures. In-platform experiences, we'll talk a lot more about this. And then real-time processing. Increasingly, data is streaming in, and we now have RTI, real-time intelligence, which is now generally available in Fabric. There's 3 different ways of integrating, and in fact, with the LSEG platform, they have explored all 3. And so this is a great segue to Phil, and welcome, Phil. Take us through your Fabric journey.
Thank you.
And share some thoughts.
That's great. Thank you, Dipti, and thanks, everyone. Hope you're having a really good Ignite. We're going to talk through our new data platform that we're building in LSEG. And this is really addressing quite a few of the customer challenges that we have. And it's partly, well, mainly really due to our Microsoft partnership, and also it's powered by Fabric. So let me explain a little bit about LSEG. When you hear the name, you obviously think of a stock exchange. In reality, we're a group of global businesses. And we basically provide leading products in the market for financial markets and data. We acquired a company called Refinitiv in 2021, and this made us, like one of our biggest revenue generators is our data analytics business. It pulls in about £4 billion a year. And in 2022, we announced a strategic partnership with Microsoft, as Dipti already mentioned, and then we're going to cover one of those initiatives that we have internally in LSEG today. So take you through a little bit more of the numbers for data analytics. You can see here, it gives you an idea of the scale and breadth of what we're dealing with here. We have high-value financial data, we have indices, we have market surveillance, and we deliver these solutions to customers through a number of products like Workspace, YieldBook, StarMine, Lipper. And I won't expect you to remember any of those. Okay, let's dive in a little bit further into data analytics then. So we kind of, fleshed out a number of use cases of the challenges that we see, with the current approach. So we have the breadth of data and a wide variety of customer personas, and it gives us many opportunities to kind of serve data in a more consistent way. We've got the combination of a very strong organic business that's grown very, very fast, and we've done a lot of M&A. So this presents itself in a very kind of product-centric type approach for our customers rather than a singular platform. And that singular platform experience is what we're here to really talk about today. And some of the themes that we really need to address here are things like discoverability. We have highly complex schemas, and we have like complex joins that customers need to do. Discoverability is like a huge part for us here. We really need to help people and customers reduce the effort of kind of onboarding for our data and consuming our data. And they're heavily resilient today on file feeds, ETL, and then building complex models around that. And then lastly, digital rights management. We need to make sure that the rights are understood and met, really. This is really important when we think about monetizing AI use cases for the future and all of our opportunity. Okay, I'll take you through the value proposition. So here's our platform. And it has kind of 3 main service lines that we talk about. We talk about data as a service, or DaaS. And this is really where we source our data and where we're basically conforming it to a common data model and we're distributing it out to customers. The next tier you see here is managed data services. And this really helps us commercialize all of our internal financial IP and use our data management services to combine customers' data with ours and join it for even better value. And then lastly, we have data trust. It's extending our lineage that we have internally, and it writes capabilities, and it provides transparency to our customers of how they can safely extract their optimal value from our data. So we're going to concentrate on DaaS today because I think it's the best way to really show you the capabilities we've built, and especially powered by Fabric. So we have ingestion as a capability, and it takes data from lots of different sources. You can imagine what we're kind of sourcing from a financial perspective. It's a lot of structured and a lot of very unstructured data as well. So pulling all that data in, and we're standardizing it to what we call data products internally in Fabric. So we use our metadata and our commercial systems to package this data up and make sure we have what we call commercial data products that we can distribute out to customers. We're also building a new data discovery capability, which we'll do a demo of in a little while. And this really leverages all the metadata that I just mentioned and enables customers to really think about, how do I discover something, how do I know what I've already bought, and how do I get new sample data sets and ultimately make a purchasing decision. And then really the big part of this is distributing entitled data out to customers. And we do that over a range of channels, which we'll go through in a little while. But we're really beginning with like bulk feeds, customer segmented SQL endpoints, and giving them a really rich kind of managed database experience here. Okay, we'll go over a little bit of the architecture here, and it's a very high level, so I'll go there and we can answer questions later on if you want to. But we've got it really split into 3 pillars. So we have a unified architecture here split across like 3 main pillars. So we have data management. Here we're doing sourcing, mastering, and publication of internal data products. We source from a wide variety of sources. That little box on the left-hand side at the bottom, we're doing on-premise, every public cloud, and then we're transforming it into strategic data models, like I mentioned. We're using workspaces, as Dipti mentioned before, and we mirror our data across all these domains. So you think about that, it's very similar to a data mesh paradigm, really. Okay, next we have commercialization, and this is where we're applying our commercial product metadata that I already mentioned, and we're packaging that data up ready to be distributed across, whatever kind of distribution channel you want. And then the value generation side, it's great getting all this data in, but you've got to be able to serve it to customers. So we're serving to customers on many, many different kind of venues and different cloud environments. As Dipti mentioned, Fabric allows us to help distribute to customers where they are, and it's super important that we meet the customer where they are and their needs. So we have like multi-region, we have multi-cloud, we distribute on Azure storage, on GCP storage, on AWS storage. We then go to traditional channels natively like Databricks, Snowflake. And then we also use technology agnostic type of distribution as well. So that might be APIs, discovery UIs, bulk feeds, those sort of things. So I mentioned data discovery is like a big, big area for us. And we have a demo here to show you. So there's a video. And just to let everyone know, it's actually running on live data against our platform. So we're super proud of it. And off we go.
I'm an analyst working on a project to improve the risk evaluation we use for our company portfolio. There's some data I want to incorporate from LSIG, a leading financial data provider, and fortunately LSIG is now integrated into Fabric through the Workload Hub. Here in the Workload Hub, I can see the built-in workloads included with Fabric, but I can also see that the LSIG data and analytics workload has been added by my organization. When I open the summary page for the workload, I see an overview of the capabilities included, as well as getting started materials and links to documentation. And from here, I can open the workload itself within Fabric. And now I can create the LSIG item in Fabric for discovering LSIG data. This gives me access to LSIG's data universe where I can browse or search for datasets. For example, here's a dataset for corporate disclosure filings. For the dataset, I can see details about what is included, the related business glossary, and related LSIG products. And if I switch over to the Products tab in the catalog, I can see the LSIG products that are available. This includes the standardized Company Fundamentals Data as a Service database. Similarly, I can browse everything within the business glossary if I want to understand specific descriptions for, in this case, Company Fundamentals. Of course, I can also search for what I'm looking for. Let's search for ESG and select the ESG dataset. Again, I have all the details of what's included in the dataset. And if I look at the related products, I can see that it is available using either the bulk Data as a Service data feed or as the Data as a Service database within Fabric. At this point, having found the data I'm interested in, I can contact my sales representative at LSIG to enable access. And now, if I jump ahead after access has been enabled, let's take a look at how we can use the data. To do this, I'm going to open a notebook in Fabric that is connecting to the data I need from LSIG. I can execute the Python code in the notebook, and I have the data loaded for me to use. And with a couple of additional lines of code, I can write the data back to my Lakehouse in Fabric. And if I switch over to Lakehouse, I can see the data ready to be integrated with the rest of my solutions across Fabric. As you've seen, the LSIG integration in Fabric lets me quickly discover the data I have available from LSIG, and then connect the data as a service so I can use it across every workload in Fabric.
Thank you. I hand you back to Dipti.
Thank you, Phil. Yeah. Great to see the entire end-to-end, the discovery, as well as the data distribution through a range of channels, SQL, bulk feeds, built on Fabric, and available in many different places. So thank you so much for that, Phil. All right, so moving on, we've had a range of ISVs that we've been working with and collaborating with, and the momentum since a year ago has been fantastic. And we have a big thank you to all of our ISVs here that are logos on our slide here. Thank you so much for your commitment. Let's dive in and see what exactly where these ISVs are doing with Fabric. So there's 3 paths to integrating with Fabric. The first one is OneLake. Within OneLake, there are many different approaches to integrating. You could use Data Factory, of course, to copy your data. You can use shortcuts. You can use OneLake APIs, data sharing across tenants. What we just introduced is open mirroring. Mirroring, in general, allows you to create a copy of data from non-file-based data systems, right? So these are databases or any system with proprietary data where you can then mirror it into Fabric and then leverage all the engines within Fabric on top of that data. With open mirroring, we've opened it up to all our partners to build their own integrations, and custom mirroring is now available to you. We're starting off with a set of partners, Strim, Oracle Golden Gate, and MongoDB that are available, and DataStax is coming soon, so we're very excited about the range of partners that can now build open mirroring and bring in their data into Fabric. CDC and snapshots can directly land in the landing zone, and from there, the open mirroring capability will pick up that data and process it and land it directly into OneLake so that it's available for downstream processing. You can create a notebook on top of that data. You can write a Power BI report on top of that data, all with the T-SQL endpoint that automatically gets created on top of that mirrored database. So very excited about this. The second pattern that we're seeing is, as Phil shared, platforms are being built on top of Fabric using a range of APIs and interfaces. So there's every engine, every workload that we have in Fabric comes with a set of interfaces, right? T-SQL is available. KQL is available for our real-time intelligence. OneLake has its own APIs. We have GraphQL API, and data functions as well are available in preview. And so all of these range of workloads and the APIs associated can be used as the foundation to build platforms on top. Now, a great example of this is Adobe and the Adobe Experience platform. And I'm very excited to announce a sneak preview of the federated audience composition feature, which will now allow users, technical marketers, to use data that's already sitting in Fabric without moving it into Adobe. It's very powerful to leave the data where it is and work with it. So very excited about this capability. Previews coming soon, and so keep a lookout for that. Now, the way this works is it integrates with our analytics workloads, and fundamentally, it connects and federates queries down to our data warehouse. So any query that's generated in the Adobe platform gets pushed down and can run automatically on our Fabric data warehouse. So that data does not have to be moved around, as I mentioned earlier. Another great experience that fits into this broad category of leveraging our APIs is Esri. Esri is the leader in geospatial analytics, and this, along with our notebooks, can now be used to write and build a lot of geospatial analytics right out of Fabric. So Esri, the geospatial engine, provides a range of functions that can directly be called via Python notebooks. And we actually have a demo in action. So let's listen.
I've got a new notebook. And I'm just going to add some code that will let me use the power of Esri to classify our call logs into different bins based on the volume of calls. We can plot this on a fully customizable map of Stockholm, and we can see that the largest volume of customer issues is coming from the southwest regions. Okay, so let's try to do something more complex now. We want to actually figure out what are the nearest stores to each customer, so we can offer them their tutorial session. And this is where the Esri engine can do really cool things, like nearest neighbor analysis. I can specify I'm looking for the nearest 3 stores in a 10-mile range, and Esri does all the heavy lifting. And here we go. In our table, we can see that for every customer, we're able to work out their nearest 3 stores along with their precise distances. Now we could of course write this back to the lakehouse, but let's plot something in our notebook quickly to see how the solution is working. I'm going to add some code for visualizing the nearest store locations, and I'm just going to pick one customer at random to test things out. And in no time, we get a new map visualization where we can see the nearest 3 stores, one of which seems to be much closer and is the clear winner for our personalized tutorial session. And we're just scratching the surface here. The Esri engine in Fabric provides over 150 spatial functions to do all sorts of cool geospatial analytics.
So super excited to announce the public preview of Esri Geospatial Engine within Fabric. This is coming in December and will be available in a range of regions. You can use one of those 150 powerful geospatial functions in notebooks natively. So very excited about this. All right, moving onwards. We've explored 2 of the paths, integration into OneLake and interop with OneLake, building applications and platforms on top of Fabric using our APIs and our workloads. And now let's talk a little bit about building workloads directly into Fabric. So at Microsoft, we've obviously added a range of new capabilities into Fabric, and we'll continue to do so. Databases recently just landed, and we announced that at Ignite in the keynote. But there's a lot that you can do with data. And we know that we won't be able to do this alone, and that's where our partners come in, our ecosystem comes in, and we become a better platform, a better product with our partners. So this is about driving that value together to our joint customers. So the platform I talked about earlier is truly an open platform. We have opened up the platform that Power BI is built on, that RTI is built on, Data Factory is built on, and we've opened it up to our partners and developers who can build their own apps. Fabric essentially becomes a data operating system where you can build your apps and bring in your workloads natively into Fabric. In terms of how that works, all of this is made possible using our Workload Development Kit, and excited to announce the general availability of this kit. A lot of powerful capabilities and workloads have been built with it. We'll take a look at some of these in just a minute. But this kit allows you to have a seamless, consistent experience. You don't really realize where Fabric ends, where our partner workload begins. It's one seamless experience. It's local development. Your developers are empowered to develop locally and push and integrate and test with your Fabric tenant. And the integration is effortless with samples provided, all of this documented, and we're super excited about this. We're just getting started with the WDK. Now, the WDK comes along with the Workload Hub. So meet the Workload Hub in Fabric. This is now available, and this is where all the experiences and workloads that our partners publish show up, right? This is that discoverability experience. This is where, when you build a workload, it will be immediately available to every single Fabric user. And so this is that product-led growth motion that you get to participate in. Every workload also has a landing page associated with it, where you can see your items. and each item is your entryway or doorway into creating your experiences for that particular workload. We'll talk a little bit more about how this works. We'll actually have a demo on the developer experience. But before that, let's actually take a look at some of the real workloads that are now available. Announcing the public preview of Quantexa Entity Resolution Workload. It's now available live in Fabric and available to have your data in OneLake be managed, processed, and all your entities resolved. So let's actually listen in to this amazing video and demo of how it works.
Introducing Quantexa Unify, the AI-powered entity resolution workload of Microsoft Fabric, enabling technical and business users to transform the quality and usability of their organization's data. Quantexa Unify uses advanced entity resolution to perform data matching with remarkable speed, scale, and 99% accuracy, helping organizations eliminate data silos and reduce the cost of getting data ready for AI. Key capabilities include no-code automated data mapping, and with advanced entity matching, use out-of-the-box configurations and machine learning to perform high-quality matching across entity types, linking records and enriching incomplete data. Deliver an enterprise-wide data estate that is continually refreshed with trusted data and seamlessly integrated throughout the Fabric experience. Integrate with other Microsoft products such as Power BI and interrogate your newly unified data with Copilot. Ready to bring your data into the era of AI? See the power of Quantexa Unify for yourself.
So if you have Fabric, a tenant, you will see now that there's a Quantexa workload that's available for entity resolution. Give it a try and reach out. And we want to make this a part of driving usage and getting all these capabilities into the hands of our users as well. Moving on. There's a lot more experiences that have been built with this powerful workload development kit. SAS is now introducing the Decision Builder workload in Fabric, which allows you to make intelligent decision based on a rules engine that's now natively available in Fabric. It's coming in December 2024, and let's listen to how this would work in SAS's own words.
Welcome to SAS Decision Builder on Microsoft Fabric. Get started by Decision Builder from the Microsoft Workload Hub to access a brand new lightweight decision intelligence solution from SAS. SAS Decision Builder is designed to help you translate insights into action using your Fabric OneLake data to construct business rules, design and monitor decisions, and govern them using native Fabric integration. Powerful business logic can be easily designed using the analyst-friendly interface by both reusing existing governed rules or by creating new if-then-else logic from the intuitive interface. Using Decision Builder, analysts and developers access different resources, including Python code, to design, test, and run decisions in a secure manner. Users can quickly connect OneLake data and their decisions to rapidly deploy their business logic to operational systems as jobs within the Fabric ecosystem. Jobs are natively integrated as part of the Fabric Monitoring Hub, so business analysts have a single, unified view into pipeline jobs and their status. So what's next? Talk to SAS and Microsoft and start turning your insights into action.
The Workload Dev Kit allows you to bring in a range of experiences. You can integrate into the Monitoring Hub. You have Entra ID authentication that's available. And so you can plug into all aspects of the platform that our other native first-party workloads have access to as well. One more, and this is Teradata. Teradata is also announcing a public preview. The capability and the workload is now available in Microsoft Fabric. It's called AI Unlimited and brings a range of analytical functions that customers and users can use directly within notebooks. So let's take a listen.
Teradata's AI Unlimited gives you unlimited flexibility to explore, experiment, and operationalize new AI use cases. Now available in public preview, AI Unlimited is natively integrated as a serverless on-demand AI workload via Microsoft Fabric. Discover and add the AI Unlimited workload from the Fabric Workload Hub to start your AI journey. With over 150 in-engine analytics for data prep and analysis with your data in OneLake. Seamlessly connect AI Unlimited to data outside OneLake via Fabric shortcuts that create a virtual copy of data without moving it. Explore predefined use cases and create new notebooks using in-engine analytics and open source models and LLMs. Innovate faster with AI Unlimited via Microsoft Fabric.
Now, it's great to have these rich and powerful experiences within Fabric, but how does it actually work underneath the covers? The Workload Dev Kit allows you to access the monitoring hub, integrate with that. Entra ID authentication is enabled. There are multiple components to the front end and back end, and I'll talk about the architecture in just a minute. But you have access to all the shared workspaces. It gives you access to the infra, the underlying infra, so you can spin up a Spark cluster if needed. You can create a dashboard, a Power BI dashboard if needed. So it gives you that access to the entire Fabric platform. In terms of the backend, there's two components. There's a front end, which is actually that UI, that experience that you saw in all these demos. This is connected using the client SDK, and it connects with the Fabric front end as well. The back end is where your engine is actually running. This could be for the decision engine that we saw. This could be for the Teradata AI functions that we saw. And this can be integrated into the Fabric backend using a range of REST APIs so that you have access to all the authentication that I talked about earlier and a range of other capabilities. Now, going in deeper one step, this is actually what the dev environment looks like. So at a high level, you see on the purple side is the dev machine, where your developer is actually building this workload. You have a dev box backend, and then also the front end. We have the dev gateway that is connecting the backend on the local machine to the Fabric backend itself. And the workload manifest is a really important concept, which packages your workload, the configurations, the specifics, all of that, which then makes it available for us to push it and make it available to every Fabric tenant that we have. On the front-end side, you have obviously your host web app in the iframe, and so it's iframe-based. And you can also load the manifest from the dev box into the Fabric front-end. So this is actually how the local environment is set up. Let's take a look at what that experience, including testing this workload in a local environment, would look like.
Hello and welcome to this project of the Microsoft Fabric Workload Extensibility feature. Today I'll guide you through the process of getting started, developing, debugging, and testing a workload. Let's begin by cloning the public sample workload repository. You can see the clones repository already loaded in VS Code. I also already created an AAD application which is required to debug against Fabric. After setting up our environment, we can run the sample workload. Watch as it registers seamlessly with Fabric, allowing us to create our first item. This integration is not just about registration, it extends to the Workload Hub, providing a clear view of how the workload will appear to customers. Developing with Fabric is a breeze. The tools and documentation are designed to support you every step of the way. As you build and iterate, the debugging process is straightforward, ensuring that any issues are quickly identified and resolved. Let's create our first workspace new item type sample. Here you can see the rich components we offer developers to get started quickly by integrating their existing SaaS services as a native Fabric workload. This includes everything from integration with the monitoring hub and a playground that includes Fabric component all the way from notifications, dialogues, panels, and much more. We can also call the OneLake compact view to get data and authentication code with SSO examples to get started. Testing is a critical phase, and Fabric offers robust testing capabilities. You can validate your workload's functionality and performance, ensuring that it meets the high standards expected by our customers. Fabric admin can upload a workload to a Fabric tenant, and then all the users in the tenant can begin testing. In this example, we can see how the cognitive services workload shows up, and every user can begin creating sentiment analysis item types. See how we can now create the item and perform a sentiment analysis while connected to external cloud resources without my local machine. Notice how integrating with Monitoring Hub is seamless, and the user can understand the processing status without leaving Fabric. We've covered a lot today, from cloning the repository to testing our workload. Microsoft Fabric's workload extensibility feature is powerful, user-friendly, and designed to help you succeed. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing the incredible workloads you'll create. I look forward to seeing the incredible workloads that you will create. That was obviously an AI voice, but there are more workloads, and we are excited to have Prophecy show up in our Workload Hub as well, announcing the public preview for master data management that's now available natively within Fabric. You can now match, merge, verify your data all in one lake with Prophecy.
Prophecy is thrilled to announce the public preview of our MDM platform featured as a workload in the Microsoft Fabric Workload Hub. So now, for the first time, master data management can operate as a seamlessly integrated part of the Microsoft Fabric experience. Now, with the Prophecy Fabric extension, master data is stored directly in one lake, with the admin and data steward interface seamlessly aligned with the Fabric UI. Why does this matter? Microsoft Fabric can bring together data from many sources, but until it has been matched, merged, standardized, and remediated, it cannot be trusted and used. By embedding MDM directly within Fabric, we streamline these processes, advancing data democratization and facilitating a data-driven approach. A featured MDM workload in Fabric also supports a medallion architecture by loading raw OneLake data into Prophecy and refining it into gold data ready for analytics, AI workloads, and copilots. Prophecy is excited to further empower Fabric's data management with trusted, consumption-ready gold medallion data for data scientists and citizen analysts alike.
So we've seen how we have now, with our partners, entity resolution, geospatial analytics. We have master data management. We have AI functions, warehousing. And then there's a last one, but certainly not the least, excited to announce Data Wrangler, which is built by our partner Osmose, that is now available in Fabric as well. It can fully automate your process of cleaning up your data using an agentic system at the back. And let's take a listen to how it works.
Osmose AI Data Wranglers take messy data that looks like this and turns it into actionable data that's been flattened and normalized. And the cool thing is that Wranglers use AI agents to do this autonomously. Wranglers can unpivot and merge tables, handle merge rows and columns, turning them into neat tabular data. Unlike typical data prep tools, Osmose uses a team of AI agents to do this hands-free. No more tedious manual work, complex formulas, or code that needs never-ending maintenance. Setting up a data wrangler is easy. Hit create and point to a destination table in OneLake. Once the wrangler is set up, select a source file or folder and leave the rest to Osmose. Go grab yourself a cup of coffee and come back to clean SQL-ready data that unleashes the full power of Microsoft Fabric for managing activations, analytics, or AI. If you're interested in putting Osmose AI Data Wranglers to work, check out the link.
Now let's assume you've built these amazing experiences, right? The next step and the next question I often get is, how do we monetize it? It's great to have all of this information and all these experiences in Fabric, but how does the actual monetization work? So let's go back to our architecture. In terms of how that works, you have your backend, which is running on Azure. You have the front end associated with it as well. And this is then connected with the Azure Marketplace. The Azure Marketplace includes a SaaS offer that you would typically post out. And the workload is integrated in with that SaaS offer. So you can point to the SaaS offer within Marketplace and have a trial experience, as well as have a subscription that you can build to. Now, it's important to note that you have full control of your pricing because you have usage statistics. You have access to the authentication and the usage information, given that this is all running in your backend. And so you can price it the way you want. You can have offers, trials. We highly encourage a trial experience. Fabric itself comes with a 2-month trial period, which is very extensive, and so that users give it a try, spin their wheels, get some value out of it, and then move to actually buying and using the workload long term. There's also a workload certification process. All the workloads that I mentioned to you that are now available have actually gone through a rigorous certification process, including security, UI, and that experience that we talked about earlier. And so that is part of this process of publishing into the workload hub. Let's take a listen in terms of how this would look for the end user of the workload once it is published, and what that experience might look like if you have a trial that's associated with the workload, and assuming that there's a SaaS offer associated with it as well.
To obtain and purchase a workload, start from the workload page where you will find detailed descriptions explaining the capabilities of the workload, the types of items it can create, and the license terms. Each workload includes a link to the Azure Marketplace SaaS offer. Before making a purchasing decision, every workload in Fabric offers a free trial experience. This trial allows you to see how the workload can improve your work and productivity. To add the workload, proceed from the workload page. Once added, you will receive a Fabric notification indicating that the workload is ready to use. The next step is to create a workspace item. Navigate to one of the workspaces associated with the capacity where the workload was added. Let's create an item to evaluate the workload. You can see the free trial in action, providing an opportunity to experiment and assess how it fits your organization's needs. Name the item and create it. The trial experience will provide information on the trial terms and allow you to start building a decision model, such as an ML model for better decision making. At some point, you'll be prompted to upgrade, as the trial period will end soon. This will likely direct you to the Azure Marketplace page, where you can contact an assessor representative to define terms and conclude the transaction. Once the transaction is completed, the workload will be activated according to the defined terms, and you can continue working with your purchased workload. Start exploring the free trial today to see how it can benefit your organization.
That's great. And so with that, we've seen a huge momentum. We've gone through a lot of announcements. A lot of new capabilities have been added into Fabric. Thank you to our partners along this journey through Esri, Prophecy, Quanexa, Teradata, SAS, and Osmos, all in public preview now, and many, many more to come. And a special thanks to Phil and LSEG for sharing their journey through this. Thank you so much. We'll open it up for a few questions now. If there's any questions, there's a mic up front for our folks online. If not, thank you so much. Pleasure. We'll be here for a bit, so feel free to come up front. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.